Well, thank you so much, guys. Gary, we'll start with you if you want to tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and the company you're at.
Hi everybody, I'm Gary, Head of Group Content at Ocean Holidays. We're kind of a selection of 6 different travel brands. Personally, I'm a men's mental health advocate. I had a breakdown a couple of years ago running my own creative agency, got diagnosed with depression and insomnia and take antidepressants, and part of every time I get on stage I want to try and reduce the stigma around those particular phrases like depression and insomnia and antidepressants and stuff. That's me.
I'm James. I'm the head of paid and marketing for Rainy City. I would say my job's evolving like being a prompt master at the minute with AI, which is interesting and scary, but yeah, we work with lots of e-com brands in paid.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sam. I'm from Sprii, which is a live shopping platform. We allow brands to go live across their Meta accounts, so Facebook, Instagram, as well as influencer accounts and their website, and the transaction then happens on the brand or retailer's website. So we take all the traffic from Meta and push it back to the checkout. My background's buying and TV shopping, where I did over 10 years, and then made my way into live shopping.
Hi everyone. My name's Daniel. I'm the head of e-commerce at Blue Vanilla. We're quite an established, about 20-year-old women's high street fashion brand, but we've sort of since COVID moved more into the online DTC and marketplace space.
Thanks, guys. So Sam, you guys at Sprii have powered like 72,000 live shopping shows, which has generated like significant, like 365 mil in spend and sales. So I think like live shopping is still relatively new for some brands, or they're thinking it's like traditional TV shopping. For UK brands that are looking to reduce that reliance on paid ads, how can video commerce and live shopping really elevate that acquisition strategy?
Yeah, great question. It builds a really, really great customer experience for your customers, where they can interact with the brand, they can get to know you and build trust with you as a retailer and a brand. And then they can ask questions, and they can be in that moment where they can find out features and benefits of a product, understand why the business exists, and you're allowed to then tell your story. So we see a lot of success where brands will drive traffic from paid into a live event, where the conversion rate is much higher than it would be, let's say, on a landing page or just a picture. So by going live, you can be more animated, and it's more like an in-store experience.
And James, what do you think is most broken at the minute in brands' acquisition strategies?
I think mainly brands that don't treat Meta or paid in general as like a real driver of getting new business. I see a lot of accounts that are just going after the same warm, high intent audiences, and then a few months down the line, they're shocked when ads fatigue. So that's one thing. Also, I think brands that don't have a real clear idea of their CAC to LTV ratio, and the brands that don't know these numbers don't know how far they can push Meta or TikTok. If they know that they're going to get 3 or 4 times rebuy rate, you can really know how much you can lose on the front end. So I think it's just evolving with the platform. As costs go up, you need to really be using it as a primary tool to get new customers rather than just retargeting.
And how important is like creative volume versus creative quality?
I think both are important. I think quality without volume, you're just going to fatigue very quickly. But quality without volume as well, you're just going to be wasting lots and lots of spend. And I think with the Andromeda update as well, Meta has always preferred diversification with volume as well, but now it can tell ads that have got small iterations. So it's never been more important to, if you've got a winning ad, rolling it out in lots of different formats, lots of different avatars, ICPs. And I think that is the difficult part, creating like a creative workflow that you're not just making small changes, you're like really feeding the algorithm with lots of different data, lots of different angles, etc.
And Gary, you've created over 10,000 videos, which is quite a lot. Why do you see content as like a long-term asset rather than a short-term marketing strategy?
I think it's both, in all fairness, and I think long-form content for long-term strategy. You look at trust; it's always going to be there. It's great for SEO. We're all struggling to try and get our websites up, but think about your YouTube description on long-form content. But then short-form, that's really good for investor sponsorship packs, because you can say you've got hundreds of thousands of views, but actually it's on your shorts and not your hero content. So I think, like you said, that there is a time and a place for quality, but also the done is better than perfect, and I think that's where the short form content comes from. So it is about quality and quantity. Yeah.
And Daniel, you've launched on quite a few marketplaces, and that's kind of been part of like your acquisition strategy. Why did you decide to lean into those marketplaces as part of that?
I think going back to what you were saying about the amount we were spending on ads and the real profitability we were making, because in women's wear the returns rate is really, really high. So up front the ROAS might look really good, but we were getting, say, 30-40% of the stock back, and the cost of that in terms of logistics and everything, and whether or not we were getting a lifetime value out of that customer. So the brand was well known. It was in a lot of department stores pre-COVID. Most of those shut down. So we knew that people knew who we were. So we figured that if we went onto a lot of marketplaces, particularly, say, for example, Debenhams, Boohoo Group, Matalan, Freeman's, where we knew that the customer would recognise us, that was a really good way to grow our sales quite quickly. And actually, the profitability generally is better than it was the amount we were spending on ads. So that seemed like quite a good way to kind of grow our brand online.
Interesting. And Sam, how can brands like turn their existing audience, so the followers, email subscribers, community, into a scalable acquisition engine rather than just a retention channel?
Yeah, so we see a lot with our customers that driving engagement through consistently going live and being present with their audience on Meta. That is helping to grow their reach on Meta. So Meta absolutely loves engagement. So we'll often run games and quizzes in our live shows that just generate tens of thousands of comments, and then that will push out their live to reach more people. That and being consistent. So that helps. And then secondly, another thing is, with your existing audience being in the live show, when a new customer comes along and goes, hey, what's this? Wants to come check it out, they often are welcomed in by the rest of the customers to say, oh, this is how you shop, this is what's going to happen next, this is how you enter the competition. And it helps build that FOMO and that sense of community, because they're kind of welcomed into the fold of the rest of your customers. So using them to welcome in new customers, but also their engagement to reach more new customers.
And how should brands get started with live shopping if they've not considered it before, or if it seems daunting and they're like, oh no, we're not ready for that yet? What can they do to make it a bit easier? So a couple of things. A lot of brands actually are already probably generating content that's quite similar to live shopping. I know fashion brands will often do like a get ready with me or try on, and similar with beauty brands where you're going to the camera and trying putting the products on your face. If live is just an extension of that. So you're going to unpack the product, you're going to explain what it is, how it works, how to take care of it, how to take care of yourself. And that's going to help generate that moment. So if you're already generating that content, this is just an extension of that. And in terms of getting started, I would start small and sort of start there. And the other way of doing it is with Sprii, we can go through influencer pages as well. So you might have an influencer in your network, or if you're a retailer, a brand in your network that's going live, you can go live with them, but have the checkout happen on your website. So it's helping to acquire their customer and bring them into your checkout. So that works really nicely as well. So it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect like what you were saying, Gary. Like just get moving with things. Yeah. James, what with like the advancements in AI, and we do have an AI panel later for anyone worried that we don't. How are we utilising this as an agency to pass on the success to the brands that we're working with?
I think we've always utilised it like the last 12 months, but I think it's like early February, Claude Co-work came about, and we've got connectors where we link our Meta Ads Manager, we can link our customer reviews, we can link our foreplay competitor swipe boards, and it just connects the data absolutely rapidly. And I'd say like 6 months ago, it would take like a full morning to do this analysis. Now you can get it in like 1 second. And it's just a lot more touch points of data, a lot more things you can plug in to get better decision making, and we're actually seeing like some early results through. I literally asked the Claude. We use a tool called Go Marble, which we're not affiliated with, but I said, "What's the winning angle in this ad account?" I linked it to like TikTok viral hook scraper, and it created some like untapped angle hooks. It created some scripts, and it was just we're seeing these like winning in the ad account, so it's actually getting some use cases out of it. And yeah, I spoke to loads of brands today. They're creating their own like apps. They're creating their own like internal systems. So yeah, it's really over the last 2 months, it's been scary, the advancement.
And like talking on that, Gary, like what role does authenticity play now in content creation, like with the scale and people using AI more to kind of create content? Like what are you seeing there?
It's like in a world of like everything being fake, authenticity is super important. And I was trying to think of like an example of what we could do. Let's say for like a beauty brand. I'm a bit of an anti-marketer, right? Influencers, attribution, the funnel, get lost. Like, I hate all that stuff. But if you can, like, as a beauty brand, for example, or a makeup brand, what you should be doing is offering services to a bride, like makeup, hair, whatever. Sponsor their, get your videographer down there and make a wedding video for them. You're not only saving cash for the bride's father, like thousands, but you're able to capture so much authentic content in a couple of hours, actual photos of actual brides in your makeup and video content, and in return for, just having your hair and makeup artist just being out there, right? And it's not like there's an influencer putting their makeup, because that is a hashtag ad as well, right? It's still fake. You might be doing this already, right? But in my mind, authenticity is absolutely key. And like I said, even like spelling mistakes on subtitles, you've got these AI platforms that put subs over short form content, like Descript, for example. You can say, create me 20 shorts from this 30-minute hero video, put subs over it, and then just don't worry about the spelling mistakes, because it shows that actually a human has made a mistake. It hasn't been a human, it's an AI that's been made a mistake, but it looks authentic, right? And that's absolutely key for engagement and trust and all those lovely buzzwords, right?
So for those people that are like hesitant to invest in that content at scale, like what do you think they're missing out on in like long-term value?
Revenue. No, loads. And I think, sometimes people forget that actually the content creation element is not necessarily there for revenue generation or audience growth, but also business growth as well. Like as an example, let's say you're a product that you want to get on the shelf of Tesco's, right? And I don't know, this is not my industry. You're ringing up the buyer, and you say, I want to get my product on the shelf. They're going to go, ha ha ha, get in line. There's 1,000 people in front of you. See you later. If you rung them up and said, I am doing a podcast on buying for direct-to-consumer goods, I'd like you to be my first guest, they'll fucking bite your arm off. So what you do is you then write down your top 10 people that you want to get in front of, and then all of a sudden you have the top 10 buyers in the country sitting in your office talking about their product, talking about their industry, and that is such a better way of having a relationship with a buyer, right? I don't care if anyone listens to the podcast. Fucking don't launch the podcast. I don't care. I don't care if anyone listens to it. You've actually sat in front of your top 10 prospects for an hour, right? It's a bit like getting laid. If you talk about yourself all the time, you're never going to get laid. So you need to get other people to get in front of you, right?
I love that advice.
I know,
right? Just to mix things up a bit, Daniel, what mistakes... Well, going back to marketplaces now.
Thank God.
What mistakes do you think brands make when they are launching on new marketplaces?
The big thing is profitability. I think particularly Amazon, if you're spending a lot on their platform, a lot on ads, a lot on sponsored listings, if you look at your P&L, you'll think you're doing amazing, and then actually at the bottom it's not. And we've experienced that, particularly as these bigger retailers are pushing us to do sponsored listings on their website and things. So that's part of it, is profitability. The other thing is visibility. So we're on about 8 different major retailers in the UK as well as our own site. So on Google, where do we come on the search? Are our partner retailers bidding on our terms? Are we fine with that? If we've got a best-selling item, do we then don't put it on their website? We keep it. So it's looking at how you get the benefit of creating more visibility for your brand while still being as profitable as you can be. I think that's the big risk. There's other things around consistency of images, copy, the things that some of these retailers do to your content that you kind of have to fight for as well sometimes.
And what can they do without like cannibalizing the D2C channel if they are investing in marketplaces?
So we believe there isn't actually as much cannibalization as we thought there would be, as long as we're on the right places. I think Amazon, because of the way that if they're searching for you, you probably are cannibalizing. So you've got to really be on Amazon for a specific reason, if it's subscriptions or whatever it is. We're not on there anymore because we knew that people were just searching for our brand. So we would rather they just came to us. I'm not saying Amazon is wrong, but it was just wrong for us. So that's the main thing. And then controlling your product. So if you do not want a best-selling line to be on a certain marketplace, and you keep it for yourself because you know that you'll make more profit selling it on your own website.
And everyone probably is going to give me their speciality in what they do. But quick fire, what acquisition tactic will brands regret ignoring this year down the line?
I think this is going to be weird. Talk shows, right? Podcasts are effectively talk shows if you take away the microphone. So the rise of the talk show, short-form vertical dramas, and reality documentaries. Sounds crazy because none of you have ever done any of that, ever, but you should become media companies and sell product off the side of it, like Red Bull. You won't see a single Red Bull can on the Instagram account. They are a sponsorship and events company. They just happen to sell energy drinks off the side of it.
I would say like the most unpolished, like ugly piece to camera ads, like you were saying, authentic content. It's never been easier to churn out hundreds of different bits of content. So I think just getting founders to talk into a camera for 30 seconds, they might think it's awful, but sometimes these take up most of the ad spend, they become winners. So yeah, I always get my founders to do that.
At the risk of being obvious, live shopping. But I will build on what these chaps have said here. I would go live, don't be scared to go live, but then take that content afterwards, chop it up, because like you were saying, it's raw, it's natural. You've probably had a great question come in from a customer that you wouldn't have thought of if you hadn't gone live. Chop that up and pop it into ads, use it across all of your channels. We're seeing some real success with like butcher shops doing that, for example. So yeah, it works no matter what kind of retailer or brand you are.
Yeah, I agree with you on authentic content. Either people in your office, we get warehouse people to make videos, them pissing about, whatever, and the amount of work we've done with smaller influencers, particularly on TikTok and Instagram, who often work for free. We just send them stuff and they make amazing content. And it often goes viral in a way that we couldn't even do ourselves. So yeah, I think authenticity and micro-influence has been really good for us.
Well, amazing. Thank you, guys. I mean, it's showing that it's not just about one channel anymore. It's about that diversification. So really interesting. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.